Hi, I'm Cameron. I don't just read comics, I love them. Welcome back to another episode of Cameron Reads Comics. And welcome to a special episode. It is another day and another Tom King Batman miniseries. I realized, it's so funny. DC keeps doing this, or at least with the last two Batman writers. The Scott Snyder Batman run ended with issue number 52, and then, he did All-Star Batman, and then he did Batman Last Night on Earth and Dark Knight's Metal, and I'm like, when they're saying a new writer is coming on Batman, is the old writer ever really off Batman? That's my question. And that's not a knock on this book. That's just, I realized that because, now Tom King did his Batman Rebirth 1 through 85 run. Then he did Batman Catwoman. And then now he's doing Batman Killing Time. I'm like, he technically, I guess, have never left Batman. I like Tom King's Batman. I'm picking up all the series and reading them. So, that's... I just realized that, and the only one I haven't seen do it now is James Tynion. But, there's still time for him to announce a Batman miniseries that he's doing, and there could already be an announcement that I don't know about. So let's get into this book. That's my introduction. This is Batman The Killing Time #1 by Tom King and art by David Marquez. This issue was really interesting. For those that don't know, like I said, Tom King was the DC Rebirth Batman writer, most notorious for his marriage issue of Batman Catwoman. My favorite arc of that run is it's the Superman Best Friend run. I think it's called Super Friends. Love that run. So huge. I'm a big Tom King fan. I think he has some really good one-off stories, and I think his take on Batman #1 has been informing so much of what's going on in the movies for Batman and everything moving forward. So you can see his fingerprints on everything they're doing. David Marquez, actually really famously a Marvel artist with Brian Michael Bendis. They did a bunch of series together. I'd say most notably the creation of Miles Morales. Marquez took over the title after Sarah Pichelli left. So a lot of that early Miles Morales stuff was David Marquez. He did a great start of Batman Superman with Joss Williamson back, I think it was 2019 or 2018. But yeah, so he's been kind of moving around the industry. I'm really excited to see that he's working on this book now. But yeah, so going into the story of this issue, it's kind of cut up like an episode of 24. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. It is every single page. I don't remember. It's not a 9-panel grid like Mr. Miracle, but every single page is it starts at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and then it goes till, 5 or 8 p.m. that night. And so I'm thinking that this whole Batman series is going to take place in maybe the span of 24 hours. It's also called, I realize, Batman Killing Time, and so I think there's, some time stuff going on that, they don't know about, or that, is kind of one of the framing devices of this story. When it comes to the story itself, that's how it's framed up, which I thought was really interesting. The villains it looks like that we are going to be seeing is Killer Croc, Catwoman, Riddler, and we saw Penguin briefly in this issue, but I don't know how serious and overall he's going to be a part of. I don't know if this takes place afterwards or in the same universe as Batman Catwoman, and if any of those things. It looks like Bruce and Selina are not, together currently, so, or at least together proper, but they totally could be. I just don't know. This issue kind of didn't give us any of that information. I don't know if they're tying in or there's any crossover over there. One of the things I really liked was the relationship is showed for Killer Croc Waylon Jennings, who I think is a just fine B-list Batman villain. He's always been a peripheral character in some of these stories. I've never seen there's never a Killer Croc War or the War of Jokes and Crocs kind of stuff. So he's never been the focal point of a Batman event. And more interesting than ever too is his a relationship with Batman and something like Batman Earth 1 Volume 2, which is very, very interesting. So I'm glad to see that he's a guy getting his due in this story and that he's a part. And I like #1 David Marquez's pencils and how he did this was freaking amazing. It's the page layouts are beautiful. I think this is like a bread and butter proper comic book arc. I think the writing is very snappy. I think the page layouts are really good, and I think that like the pencils in here are so consistent. There's a splash page with Batman, like when Commissioner Gordon turns on the bat signal. I feel like it's an image we've seen a million times before, but it's never an image that we are going to get sick of, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. So big fan of that. When it comes to the art in this book, again, I'm a big David Marquez fan. I think that he's a very proper, comes from the same school as like Jason Fabok or, almost Gary Frank kind of art where it's just like very proper, very realistic. And I like that, but also the dramatics are there, but it's not over stylized. It's very consistent. And I like that, I know what I'm going to get with him, and I'm always looking forward to, I know that the art will never be the weak point of a story that David Marquez is on, and I love that. He's a very consistent artist. I didn't want to spoil too much of this book because also one of the big knocks I have is that I kind of didn't understand what was happening. It's like two simultaneous bank robberies. Catwoman is up to something, and then all the villains get together, and they're up to something too, and it's kind of like, okay. And that was really like, if I was to explain what happened in the book, I'd say that's what happened. It ends on a little cliffhanger, but I don't know. Overall, when it comes to my rating, this is an issue number 1 review. I think for the first time, I don't know if I'm going to pick up issues 2 through 6 because I'm not on the edge of my seat dying to know what happens. And I think that it will come on DC Universe soon enough. And so I will read it there and probably do a review in like 6 months to a year whenever it comes out. So yeah, it's not a bad issue at all. I'm like, how bad do I want to, pay whatever the $30 that it's going to take to complete the series and then read it when I can kind of get that for free. If something happens, I got a big back catalog of books right now that I have to read. Number 1, I think on that list being Supergirl, the most recent Tom King story that I collected and I didn't even finish. So I want to reread that now that I have all the issues for it and kind of actually give it a fair try. But I don't want to make that same mistake with this book because I think that he's a great writer. I think the stories are good. I just don't think, I don't want to get behind on my comics just so I can be having these issues when, they will be provided to me. And that's it. So great series. If you're a huge Tom King fan, go pick it up. I want to hear what you have to say. Drop a comment. Tell me what you thought of this issue. Make sure to clobber those like and subscribe buttons. My name's Cameron. I don't just read comics. I love them. I'll see you guys next time.